Steve Cohen andied up $16 million more and got Francisco Lindor to sign the contract now. So there's going to be some deferral money in this new contract as opposed to the old offer of $325 million where there was no deferral money in it. But who really cares? You know, we got our guy. That's all that matters. And, we have the richest owner in sports. He could do whatever he wants, spend as much money as he wants. And one of the things that we all were hoping for when he took over the team is this exact scenario. Go out, get one of the top 5 players in baseball, and pay him. And don't act like a mid-market team, a small market team, although the Mets did spend money in their time here, but maybe they spent it the wrong way. This seems to be money well spent on a guy that everybody seems to love. He has lived up to all the expectations. He's had a reasonably good spring training, and now he is the face of your franchise. And that's a great thing. That's a great thing for us, especially on the morning of opening day tonight as they play the Nationals. And interestingly, for the Nationals had a player test positive for COVID-19. Yep. Mm-hmm. So there'll be that player, and I'm not sure who it is, plus 4 other players due to contact tracing not being able to play tonight in tonight's opening night game. And whether or not they'll be able to play during this series, who knows? So maybe it's like a lot of breaks going the Mets' way here early on, and I just think it's terrific. I think it's great. I think Met fans should be happy, and I also think Yankee fans should be happy. You know, this is it. This is we're going to get a 162-game season. We'll have to deal with some COVID stuff as the season goes on, as the Nationals are dealing with it now. But it's opening day, man.
It's opening day.
Much better than that.
And you get to go. And even though the weather is not great, it's opening day. And if you're someone that's into getting back to the ballpark and experiencing that, there's some people who, of course, have the opportunity to do so, which we haven't seen in a very long time. And you cannot, if you are someone who has been watching this whole Steve Cohen experience from the beginning, you cannot be comparing him to the Wilpons any longer. You can't be complaining about, oh, you lost out on George Springer, who, by the way, is not playing because of an oblique today for the Blue Jays. You can't be saying, oh, you missed out on this guy or that guy or Trevor Bauer and somewhere else, and this is the Wilpons all over again. No, it is not. Look at this contract. Look at this deal. Look at the history of the Mets organization, the money that they shelled out. So I don't want to hear any of that stuff anymore. That is over, and you'll see this guy for the next 10 years, hopefully healthy and producing. And if he somehow is the impetus for the Mets returning to glory and a World Series championship, every single penny will be worth it.
And you also have what you call a 5-tool player. You know, you have a player that is an offensive threat.
He's a 5-tool guy.
He's an offensive threat, and he immediately makes your defense better. So all of that, bodes well for the New York Mets. And then, with the other additions that they've had, it will be interesting to see how this pitching staff, the starting staff, pans out. And then, of course, the bullpen, which is
who the hell knows anymore with the bullpen.
It's still the most important aspect of your team.
And you never know going into the year.
You have no idea
how it's going to pan out. It's an exercise in futility, Boomer, trying to figure out if the bullpen's going to be good or not. And the starting rotation to a similar degree, too. Now, there are so many question marks. If there's one thing that you're really concerned about with the Yankees, it's the starting rotation, because there's so many guys in there that you haven't seen pitch in a long time. So how about Severino,
yep,
Herman,
yep,
Tyone, and Kluber? How many innings do you think that those guys pitched combined last year?
If I had a bet, well, no, nothing.
One
inning, yeah.
One inning total.
No, but if I had a bet on one of those guys to come back and pitch well, it would be Domingo Herman. That's to me who my money would be on. As far as Severino, he's going to be like, he's going to be like Syndergaard. We don't know when he's going to come back. So, and it will be great when he does come back. If you had a healthy Severino, a healthy Herman, and you had those guys backing up Garrett Cole, and then you had Kluber and Italian, then I would say, yeah, you got something. But, every team has got a million question marks. We all know that. And it all starts with the pitching staff, especially when you're paying a guy over $300 million who is your starter. This is why, this is what the rest of the pitching staff looks like. You can only pay so many guys.
Yeah. Does the Kluber and Tyone acquisitions feel a little bit to you like the Porcello and Wack acquisitions last year for the Mets?
It's right. You know, they're on the back end of their careers, coming off of injuries.
Well, Tyone's a little younger.
He's a little younger, but they're coming off of injuries.
Yeah.
And you just never know how that's going to play itself out. And I would think that, you know, when the Yankees ended last offseason, if you were going to tell me this is what the starting rotation was going to look like,
I'm shocked.
I figured Hamon would come back. You know, I figured he would be back in the mix, and I know Severino will ultimately be in the mix, but the other guys, it's just like patchwork, and that's what you're trying to do. And they're going to try to outscore teams, which they can do and which they should do. And, you know, the interesting thing about all of this stuff, too, with the Yankees is that when I was reading about Giancarlo Stanton, is that they were talking about possibly, because he's been so healthy, putting him back out in the field and letting him play some outfield.
Oh, awesome. That'd be great.
But they have a logjam in extra outfielders.
I don't want to see him in the outfield.
They're paying him $30 million to sit on the bench and swing the bat 5 times a game.
They are, but if he has a full season of health and power and looks like the MVP that he was a few years ago, you'll take it. But, yeah, you're right. And it's so funny to me because Brian Cashman was so outspoken before this Giancarlo Stanton deal about the mistake that he made with Jason Giambi. And he said that he was a one-dimensional player, Jason Giambi, and he never wanted to bring in a guy for that much money who was that important to the team that was a one-dimensional player. And that's exactly what Giancarlo Stanton has turned into, a one-dimensional player. But you started to see him break out of it a little bit last year, be an important piece to their offense, and you just like to see this team stay healthy. Give your fans a regular season of health. Just please.
Just one season.
You just one season
right?
of these guys not, with a muscle pull here, a hamstring, a quad, a twisted ankle. I mean, already Luke Voigt, of course, with this partially torn meniscus is out, but, and he dealt with that foot injury that he played through last year, and Jay Bruce is going to take his spot in the meantime. But you just don't want to see Judge going down for a long period of time. You don't want to see Stanton going down, Torres going down. You just don't want to see that stuff.
Who is the first injury and what is it?
Oh, man. I don't even. This is a positive day, man. Okay. I want to do this today. Okay. You want to do this today?
No, let's not do it today.
All right, I'll give you one. This is the last negative thought that I'll have today.
All right.
At what point does Gary Sanchez get replaced as the everyday catcher?
That's a good question.
Is it May? Is it June? Is it towards the end of the season in the postseason like last year? I'm going to say it will happen prior to the trading deadline. That's when I think it'll happen. He will lose his job as the everyday starting catcher.
Well, I'll tell you what. If he follows up the first, say, 20 games that he plays in this season like he ended spring training, he'll be out before that.
They just desperately want this guy to be great.
Trying to. They're hoping to see if he can hit again. He just, I don't know what to tell you. The strikeouts are just alarming.
And it's not like he is some sort of defensive stalwart where you can deal with this.
He's gotten better. What will be interesting, we'll see how Cole pitches to him today and how that whole thing works out. But, there's so many things with him. It's like Yankee fans have had it up to here.
Yeah, sure.
Enough already. But, we saw what he could be. That's the bad thing. It's not like we didn't see it. We all saw it. We all bought into it. It was like Jeremy Lin for the Knicks there, his first year up, his second half of that season. Everybody's like, oh, my God, we got our next Thurman Munson. This is going to be unbelievable. And he's turned out to be anything but that. He's an enigma, and there's nothing worse than having an enigma on your team.
Wrapped in a mystery.
Right. because it's frustrating. It's frustrating for the owners. It's frustrating for the fans. Of course, it's frustrating for Aaron Boone because he's the one in front of the microphone every single day talking about it.
I wonder who the biggest Sanchez supporter is. Is it Cashman? Is it Boone? Is it Hal Steinbrenner? Who knows? I was really, really surprised that they brought him back this year. I thought it was over. I thought when he lost his job at the end of last season and into the postseason that was the end of it. They had decided that he couldn't do it any longer. They're giving him one more shot, but this is, of course, the make-or-break situation. I mean, to me, the only reason why I'm saying that it's going to take all the way to like July 31st for him to lose his job is the Yankees have given him every opportunity to succeed. So there'll be excuses again this year. If he starts off and he's hitting 206 and he's got one really long home run in April, they'll say, well, he's hitting the ball. If you look at the hard hit ball rate for Gary Sanchez right now, he's run into some bad luck. And his defense has been a little bit better. And he threw a couple guys out. There's always the ifs and buts with Gary Sanchez, but really at the end of it, he has not been a productive enough player to be starting every day for the Yankees in my mind.
Well, I think for the Yankees, not so much Pete Alonso, because Pete Alonso didn't play great last year, didn't have the numbers that everybody was hoping he was going to have. But I do believe that there's a lot of pressure on him, especially it looks like we're going into the season without the DH in the NL. So that means, what Dominic Smith going to be in left field, how they're going to work this whole thing out. He's a much better first baseman than Pete is. But, Pete's another one. He's got to come out of the box, man. He's got to come out of the box. He's got to come out flying.
Because you hear the whispers now, flash in a pan guy.
Man, I don't want to hear flash in the pan. He's not a flash in the pan.
You're hearing the whispers.
He's a legit baseball player.
Well, this is what we need to see this year. This is the big question. Flash in the pan guy, legit baseball player. Now, I'm with you. I love Pete Alonso. He's also a flag and anthem ambassador, so I'm a big supporter of him. But as another bad year, we're talking flash in a pan guy.
When I think about the Mets and the Yankees, Gary Sanchez at the top of the list. When it comes to you got to perform.
Well, this is it. This is the last opportunity they could give him in a Yankee uniform.
And the thing about Stanton, he had great playoffs last year, but the thing about him is he's got to stay on the field. Yankee fans don't want to see him play 110 games. You know what I mean? He's got to play. He's got to stay healthy. Same thing with Aaron Judge. Both of those guys have got to stay healthy. And then for the Mets, to me, it's Marcus Strowman.
Yeah, especially
he's getting $19 million this year.
Pitching into a contract year.
And he's pitching into a contract year. And, he is the number 2 starter right now. He is the guy that has to live up to the contract that he has signed. And I'm telling you, he has not done that since he has been a Met. But now comes, the real spotlight. And the real spotlight with the money you're making, the team that you're on right now, and how good we all think they're going to be. You can't go out there and have a 4.50 ERA. Just can't do it.
No. And he, ever since becoming a Met, he has underachieved. There's no doubt about it. Of course, last year, making the decision to not come back to the team after the injury and opting out. And then all the stuff.
To a service time so he could actually sign this contract.
Taking that money that he did after the qualifying offer was offered. So, yeah, this is put up or goodbye time for him as well. It really is. And he's got every motivation in the world, whether it's here or anywhere else, with the type of money that good starting pitchers get. And I know this is a one-year situation, but he's got an opportunity, if he goes into free agency off a good year, to set himself up for the rest of his life with a massive deal. So, yeah.
He would. I mean, look, it's all of it is right there in front of him. If he ends up going, let's say he goes 13-8. He makes 33 starts, and somehow, some way, he's got a 3.5 ERA or less. That's big money for him.
It probably would be.
It is, though. It's going to be.
No, I mean, ERA a little bit lower would be ideal.
I said 3.50 or less, meaning that he pitched 33 games. He was 13-8. I mean, the win-loss record doesn't mean much. And let's say he threw like 200 innings.
And you also understand
that's what you want.
Yeah, absolutely. And postseason starts, too. If the Mets make it there, those are always big money deals. People are watching that. He can pitch with the pressure on him. He goes out and wins a series in a deciding game, and whether NLDS or NLCS or World Series or something like that, then, of course, the number is going to go up. And that's where the Mets have to be thinking, just with the Yankees. The Yankees have to win the division. They're the best team in the division. They are, hands down. They've got to win the division. They've got to get into the playoffs. And, of course, the trend that we have seen with the Yankees the last few years is that they're really good, and then they get into the playoffs, and there's a team that's got a deeper rotation, or a team that doesn't strike out as much, or a team that's better with clutch hitting, or a team that's bullpen is just a little bit better. There's always a team that they run into in the postseason that just plays the game just a little bit better than the Yankees do, and then that's it. So that can't happen again.
I would have to believe that Brian Cashman will, at the trade deadline or somewhere along this season, add more arms to his rotation. somehow, some way, he'll get a hold of somebody and he'll bring them in. And I think a lot of that's going to depend on injury and how well his patchwork starting staff is going to do. But I got to believe that they're going to be uber aggressive come trade deadline time, just like they normally are.
What's your move at a cold game if you're a spectator? Let's say you're not in the suite. You go Flask?
I am definitely going Flask.
You're a Flask guy?
I got the Under Armour cold gear on underneath.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm wearing my zero restriction rain suit that I play golf in.
You're going to put the full rain suit on?
Oh yeah. If I'm sitting out there, and I got a floppy hat on, making sure that my ears and my head are warm and the whole thing. And I don't know. And I'm trying to enjoy the game. That's all I can tell you.
You know what you're going to see a lot of, I'm sure, early on in this season is a lot of gaiters over people's faces, not just for COVID reasons, but for warmth, because everybody's got gaiters now. They're going to be covering their entire face, hood up, winter hat, big coat, I think couple layers pants, 2 pairs of socks. I think you have to go that route.
Now, I'm telling you, so I've been lucky enough and fortunate enough to go play golf in Ireland and Scotland.
Yeah.
And some days it's rain is coming down sideways with wind for 9 holes, and then the sun comes out on the second 9 holes. And one year we were playing in Scotland, and I mean the rain was coming down sideways. And the guys that I were with didn't want to play. I said, I'm going out there, and I got a Scottish caddy and everything. He's got no teeth, and he's like a little bridge troll, and he's all fired up that I want to go play and everything else. And I got my rain suit on, and I got my rain gloves on, and I was perfect. I was warm. I was dry. And after those 9 holes, I go back in, go grab a Bushmills, and sitting there talking to the guys that I came with, who now are ready to go play because it stopped raining and the sun's out. But that's why I wear that zero restriction rain suit is the best thing that I own.
And you would wear that to Yankee Stadium
100%.
Even with no rain.
Especially because it's the same color as the Yankees. It's like the color of my sweatshirt.
Oh, okay. All right, perfect. Yeah, I mean, I don't want to sound soft, but sitting outside in that cold weather for like 3-4 hours, it gets to you, man.
Nice thing, 'cause
the older you get.
There is nothing worse than sitting on a wet seat and having a wet ass.
Thank you for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe. And don't forget to hit the red bell so you're notified when we have new content.